All right, welcome back to Bayou Town. What a busy weekend. Had so many events that were going on. And at the Regional Military Museum, another great event. And our crew went out to Vietnam Era Veterans Appreciation Day. Over 200 people showed up for the event to support all of the veterans. And even retired Major General Hunt Downer was there. He was the guest speaker.
We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are those who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, and imprisonment. Before we began our ceremony, we paused to recognize our POWs and MIAs. We call your attention to this small table up front, which occupies a place of dignity and honor. It is set for one, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs and MIAs. We call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families, so we join to pay humble tribute to them and to bear witness to their continued absence. The table is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her suppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The napkin is black, which stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their families and friends. The single rose in the vase signifies the blood they may have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. This rose also reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep faith while awaiting their return. The yellow ribbon symbolizes our continued uncertainty, the hope of their return, and our determination to account for them. The slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us at this time. And the chair is empty. They are not here. The candle is remnants of the light of hope, which lives in our hearts, to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to the open arms of a grateful nation. The American flag reminds us that many of them may never return and have paid the supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain us and those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. Let us pray to the Supreme Commander that all of our comrades will soon be back within our ranks with a moment of silence.
Parish of Terrebonne, a proclamation. Whereas each March 29th, we acknowledge and celebrate those veterans who served the Vietnam War, recognizing their bravery and highlighting their courageousness in service to others. And whereas on this 50th anniversary of the ending of the United States involvement in the Vietnam War, we are reminded of the great cost paid by many Americans during the war and of the struggles experienced by those who served following the war. And whereas Vietnam Veterans Day was established to honor those veterans and their sacrifices, as well as advocate for mental health awareness and support for all military personnel, especially those who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder or other mental health issues. And whereas we are all deeply indebted to our veterans, for their service and selflessness toward the preservation of the health and well-being of others. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Council, on behalf of the parish president, Gordon E. Dove, and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, that the day of March 29th, 2023, be hereby proclaimed Vietnam Veterans Day in Terrebonne Parish, and that all citizens be encouraged to offer their respect and gratitude to those veterans who served their nation during the Vietnam War, and to participate in local events honoring those heroes and their legacies. Presented this 25th day of March, 2023.
You know, it's as we see our country as it evolves, the sacrifices that have been made, the commitments that have been made by our country, our citizens to freedom, should never be forgotten. As you look around, we started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge. But you know, it's me individually, just like each one of you, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. See, that flag tells you something. United States of America. We're together. If we get divided, we lose. So we pledge allegiance. And every person, every veteran who has taken the oath of office, I do solemnly swear to support the United States of America and the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Yes, there are those within us who would take us down in a heartbeat, and the heartbeat is ours. They take it away from us. You know, every veteran in here has a story and is where they are today because of some of their experiences, some of the things they have experienced and taken back, lessons learned. We learn from history. Let us never forget, we learn from history. And every one of us in this room, veteran, family member, had the same history lesson. I'll share with you my history lesson that you all had too. For me, I'm a slow learner, let me tell you before. It was, boy, my grandmother told me, boy, don't touch that stove, it's hot. 3 times, and I found out how hot it was. But you see, we learned from it. And we learned from our experiences as we moved on the road of life, that life and freedom are not free. They're paid for by the blood, sweat, and tears of our fellow citizens who served our country. Gold Star, Blue Star, those who are here and who carry the wounds and effects. And if you don't believe it, last time I saw statistics, there are over 400,000 veterans who live in Louisiana. A large number of those veterans are disabled because of, I would say, all service-connected disabilities. Those who have experienced that, the Veterans Affairs are here. That is our state supporting. I want to give a plug to the Veterans Affairs. Louisiana is the only state that tries to have a Veterans Affairs service office in every parish, and the parish pays for the office. The state pays for the Veterans Service Officer. Other states don't have that. That's because of Louisiana's commitment and because of the men and women who serve, who have served, who are serving, and who are in public office. Talk one little bit about the museum as you sit here and look around you. It's a regional military museum, not meant to compete with World War II, not meant to compete with any of the others. It's regional. It's to show that which the Bayou area, brought together to support our country. The Huey, the UH-1, Vietnam era. Then they went to the Black Hawks. Now they're going to phase those out. But that's history. They learned from the history. They learned the good and the bad of what that chopper brought and modified. Look around you and you want to see the evolution of the Jeep to the Humvee, to the Hummer as they call it. Now they're getting rid of the Hummers and going to think of something else. It's improving, but they've learned from history what can and can't work. And what can and can't work is us being here. No one asked me for a speech. No one ran me through a security checkpoint to be here. Good thing. I did not have to submit written words, and I do not have to fear that when I leave here, I might be assassinated for what I say. Other countries are like that. And yes, we have an influx of illegal aliens. But you know why they're coming here? To get the heck away from their country. And you look at where they're running from. Those countries are on the verge, if they're not already there, communists. Now, I'll give you, granted, some of them are here to take us down. They have a purpose. And we just have to make sure we only let the good in and keep the bad and the ugly out. You know, we make jokes about the Air Force, but in my other life in the legislature, we used to tell the Air Force would always come for support, but it was for the golf course, then the officers club, then the runway, and if there was any money left, they might buy an aircraft. Any Air Force veterans in here? Raise your hand. Ooh. Remind me not to fly with you, you'll get even. Yeah, you're right. But you know, we all have some humorous experiences, and I thought I'd kind of leave on a high note. I was on one of those one-man missions. Anyone who's been in the service know every now and then you get one of those. And I was in another country, and after just seeing how their military has to live off the land, I was very much impressed and thankful we had MREs. And when I first went in the Army, 1967, so I'm dating myself, I was eating World War II sea rations, or sea rats. They had a supply left from World War II. We were still eating them. And you know how they heated them? In a garbage can with a burner under it. And they'd throw the tin cans in there. I gotta tell you, you ate it. Because if you didn't, you didn't get fed. And then that same trash can with the boiling water was how they made the coffee. The cook in the field would take his dirty apron from the day before and hold it over the trash can. They'd open the cans of coffee grinds. Now I'm talking cans. There was no label on it, so you know it was sold by the low bidder, and probably from World War II. And they'd dump the grinds on that apron, and that old chef, cook, I mean, I call him a chef, would hold it, and they'd pour boiling water. And it would go in. Then when he's finished, he'd take that off, and everything got thrown away. And then you'd walk by with your canteen cup, and they'd dip you your coffee. Now, you know you had good coffee when there was a sheen on it like an oil. And I can tell by the laughs, we've all had it. You never needed a laxative after you had that coffee. But on that one mission, being with that other country and in the jungle, they were so excited that they saw an American soldier. They had never seen an American soldier, much less an officer. And they said, "Sir, we heard you were coming. We prepared something special for you." Now remember, they are living off the land. "Sir, we have fresh monkey." I have a vision of what that fresh monkey looked like as they're turning it on a spick in an open pit fire with a little smoke in a combat zone, telling the enemy where in the hell we are. Now, I have to admit, first, I came up with an excuse not to eat the monkey. My regret, no, my regret is not eating the monkey. They kept stressing, sir, it's fresh monkey. I often wonder, is there such a thing as stale monkey? Because there was no refrigeration, no nothing. You know, let me find that, because I want to get it right. One of our former presidents, Ronald Reagan, and I'll leave you with this, said a quote: "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. You don't inherit the freedom. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on them to do the same thing, or one day, those of us here will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was like in the United States where men and women were free." Godspeed to all of us, all veterans, all future veterans on our journey on the road of life. And may this country continue to be blessed with the commitment and service of the men and women in our armed forces, their families who support them, and you all who are here present today, including the Air Force, who are going to give us a ride after. Thank you.
Congratulations on a great event. Glad HTV could be there, and we urge everyone to always support the Regional Military Museum. We'll be back with a lot more. Don't go away.